So I didn't know what I was going to speak on. Public speaking, human trafficking, how it all ties together. It got quiet all of a sudden. Did I really need the microphone? Because a good public speaker will be able to project and get all the way to the back of the room. So maybe since I did fly in this morning, and I'm so tired, I'll stick with the microphone. But human trafficking, a story of one woman's journey to discovery. So I knew nothing about human trafficking 4 years ago. I knew there were perhaps some women that had found themselves in some nasty situations. Maybe they couldn't pay their bills, so they ended up being prostitutes. Maybe there was some child labor going on somewhere, but really I had no idea. And then I found this, the United Nations definition of human trafficking. And please don't try to read it all. I just put it up there to let you know it's really involved. But basically, if a person is bought or sold for the purpose of exploitation, that is human trafficking. So the main types of human trafficking are labor, sex, and organ trafficking. So just a few statistics to get us started. There are over 30 million slaves globally. The average age of introduction to the sex trade is 12 years old. That doesn't mean their first sexual encounter is at 12, but that means whoever the older person in their life is grooming them to get them ready to go into the sex trade. The top 3 criminal industries are drugs, sex trafficking, and arms dealing. So human trafficking isn't just some small thing that should be ignored. It generates 30 to 50 billion US dollars. If you're more comfortable in pounds or euro, those numbers are up there too. I don't know about you, but I can't quite get my head around what $50 billion means. So let's look at it as far as legal for-profit businesses go. So in 2009, human trafficking made more profit than Google, Nike, and Starbucks combined. So human beings as young as 3, as old as 83, being sold over and over and over for over $50 billion. So why is it so lucrative? It's a very low-risk profession. So if you were to go into the trafficking business, you probably will not get caught. If you get caught, you will probably not be prosecuted. If you are prosecuted, you will probably be set free fairly quickly. Whereas a drug dealer, you have to make the drug, then there's high risk to sell the drug, and once the drug is taken, it's gone and you have to reproduce that. Whereas a person, you can sell them over and over and over again. Now, you were very kind to say I'm in the arts. Let's pretend I'm Picasso. This is a raging river. So let's think about, you're sitting by the Han River having a picnic, and you see someone float by, and they're struggling. And so you jump in, you save them. And then all of a sudden another person and another are struggling down this river. And then you think, what is going on way up at the top of the river that's making all these people drown? And who are those 30 million slaves? So, to save on time, I'm just going to go through these really quick. The push and pull factors, what pushes people into slavery and what pulls them into it. And this is not a complete list. This is just a few things. Poverty, violence, sexism, no to limited education, poor family ties. That is a huge thing worldwide. In the U.S., it's a huge problem because children are not feeling loved, they're not feeling cared for, there's violence, they leave the home. Here in Korea, the family connection is not as tight as it used to be. Children are running away. Grandmothers are not being supported by their children. and that is leaving them vulnerable to being trafficked. So those are push. The pull factors. Looking for love, demand for cheap labor, perceived opportunities for employment. The Filipino population globally is at risk. Culturally, they go outside of their country to earn money to send home. And so they trust when a recruiter comes to the village and says, I have a good opportunity for you to make money. You can be a chef or a dancer or a singer, and really they fall into being trafficked. So how does that happen? Well, the recruiter comes, they say, trust me, and the person trusts them. And they say, well, now because I got you this job, you owe me all this money. And the girl says, I don't have that money. And so they say, well, now you have to go and work at the juicy bar or at the strip club or at the brothel until you earn enough money to pay me back. So, do you know heart disease? Do you know what that is, heart disease? Or some other medical disease? And there's a list of risk factors. So with heart disease, if you smoke, if you're overweight, if you don't exercise, that makes your risk of getting heart disease go up. Well, it's the same thing with human trafficking. The more of these you have, the more vulnerable you are to being trafficked. So this is in the United States. The number one vulnerable community are children who have run away from home or who have aged out of the foster care system. And again, I'm sorry to go through all this so quickly. Labor trafficking, we have a huge population of illegal immigrants because they think of America as a place of opportunity, which it is. But if you're illegal, then you must stay hidden, and they are vulnerable to being taken advantage of. In the Philippines, again, so many risk factors. So in January of this year, I went to Cambodia, and all of these at one time were risk factors. In the past 20 years, there's been no civil unrest, but the country has been so torn apart in the past 50 years that the country is vulnerable. Again, that raging river, how do people fall in? So in Cambodia, I think it's very vibrant, bright colors, bright smells. I love it. Maybe not all the smells. But it's just a wonderful place, full of history, and then you scratch the surface. And this looks like a great place to go sing karaoke or notabong, right? Well, no, it's not. It's really a place for women to be sold. These women are waiting for men to come so that they can go in, the men can buy. And these are women that were trafficked as little girls. Their virginity was sold to men, and then that's the only thing they know to do. And the community thinks they're trash or garbage. So the community says, this is the only place you can work. This is, you don't get respect. So just some more pictures. You can tell there are no smiles in these pictures. This is not a life these girls have chosen. This KTV is called Feelings. I won't tell you how I feel about that. This is not her father. So as you can see, if you look below the surface, you can tell that things aren't quite right. And it's not just in Cambodia. It's not just in the US or in Korea. It's in every country around the world. Since my laptop isn't hooked up, I can't show you those. This is a brick factory. So before I was showing you instances of sex slavery, this is labor trafficking. So these guys are making bricks by hand. They dig the dirt, they form the brick, they put it in the kilns. They also chop the wood, and then they stack the bricks. And if it's rainy season, it rains, the bricks melt, and then they have to do it all over again and they don't get paid. So you might say, but this just sounds like hard work. It doesn't sound like trafficking or slavery. These people who have no education, no money, they go to the big city like Phnom Penh looking for opportunity. And so all they can do is work at the brick factory. And they have to live there. And so they pay rent, very high rent. Well then if someone gets hurt, then they have to go to the hospital. But they don't have the money to go to the hospital. So they have to borrow money from the brick factory owner who charges high interest. So what might have been $50 turns into $2,000, $15,000. And the employee can't pay it back. And so he must stay there and work in these poor conditions. And if he dies, his family inherits the debt. And so they are enslaved to the factory owner. This is outside the factory. It's also where they have neighborhood meetings. Whoops. This is the neighborhood. They have maybe 3 or 4 walls, a floor, no running water, no electricity. So I don't know about you, but this is not the life that I would aspire to. And it's all because poor family ties, no education, poverty, the vulnerability to trafficking. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So I worked at Agape International Mission, and they prevent, rescue, restore, and equip the girls that they rescue from sex slavery. These are a few things they do. After the girls are rescued, they are checked out. They go to a health clinic. They get therapy, counseling, job training. It's just a wonderful place. We took the girls out for a picnic because these girls that have been rescued, and some have children, they go to work, they go to school, and then they take care of their children, and then they do it all over again every day. And so they never have time for fun. Just a picnic, something that we do, well, maybe not every day, but as much as we want to do because we have that freedom. And the girls just really enjoyed having that time to have fun. We did art therapy lessons. I was the lucky one, got to hold the babies. But these girls that you see, the smiles on their faces, remember, you didn't see smiles before. These are girls smiling after they've been rescued. They thought they would never smile again. Girls that had been beaten and abused and raped every day, 20 times a day for years. They thought they had no hope. They thought they would not be rescued. They thought this was their life forever. This girl, her name is Bella, and she was sold at the age of 12. Now she is married. They're thinking of having children. She is helping to go in and rescue the girls from these KTVs and these brothels. So as you can see, this model that they're doing, the program they're doing in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap at this particular agency is really making a difference. This is the employment agency, daycare. They learn how to make bracelets and t-shirts. And so that they are able to earn money, and by earning money, gain respect within the community so that they are accepted back into society. This is a kids club where they go out into the neighborhood and take care of the children so that they are not vulnerable to being trafficked as well. So I didn't mention the community where we were is called Spy Pot. And it is the epicenter for child prostitution. Now, in the past couple of years, AIM has really made a big difference. So the selling of children doesn't happen during the daylight hours anymore. But if you notice, there's a gate here and this gate. It is so dangerous in that neighborhood still that you must leave by 5 p.m. or you get locked in so you don't get into trouble. So while it's slow and hard and difficult and the sad stories are there, good people are doing good work to reduce the risk and to rescue the girls and the children that are in this situation. So if you wanted, what could you do? Be a mentor, raise awareness, raise money, buy fair trade. There are, I believe, 70 to 80% of the chocolate that is harvested is in the Ivory Coast, and it's harvested by children. So we need to find ways to buy our chocolate responsibly, and one way to do that is fair trade. Report suspicious activity. This is the hotline in the U.S. There we go. These are just a few resources, and I can send this to you if you want. Just more websites, books, shopping. I really encourage you to go to slaveryfootprint.org. It's a short and easy survey, and it will tell you how many slaves you actually employ. I don't have my phone with me, but every smartphone, every pair of shoes has, ladies, I'm sorry, but our makeup, it has been touched by people that have been trafficked in one way or another. So find ways to shop responsibly. This is just a visual of the same slide. If you like jewelry, go to Nightlight. Books, not for sale, is one of the best out there. So I'm sorry I zoomed through that really quickly, but I wanted to just give you a flavor of human trafficking, what we can do to combat that. And so if there are any questions about human slavery or human trafficking, and I don't, if I can So what I just said was, what? Was it very passionate or powerful? No. So that's basically what I said. If I came in here in 2020. So what is voice? So there are many different ways to think about your voice. So if you've taken a writing class, you may have heard of the author's voice. That's the word choice and the style. Okay, sentence length. Projection. How you're seen, the image you project, and heard, how you project to the vocally. And then passion, authenticity. That's a really big word that means you're real. And authority. Who knows what this is? I don't have much cash in my purse, but I'll give you all my cash if you know what this is.
Come on, guys, good chance.
Okay, so voice as choice. So I admire anyone who speaks more than just a few words in a second language. I tried studying Spanish in high school, and all I can say is hola. And then I studied Japanese in university, and that went a little better. But it's been so long, and I haven't used it, that I really can't say much more than konnichiwa. And then here, all of my work has been in English, so I'm very sorry, but all I can say is annyeonghaseyo. So as you're choosing your words, practice. Choose different words. Choose words that are very difficult, some that are very easy, and then practice until they become comfortable. And then think about, does this sound like me? So whether you're doing that in English or Korean or Japanese or whatever, practice using different words until you feel comfortable with them. The same with sentence length. You need some short, some long. Figure out what is your style. Also, be careful in the words you choose and in the phrases you use. So, this is a chicken. And you can tell by his feet, he's running around, and his head has been cut off. So in the southern part of the U.S., we have a saying, running around like a chicken with his head cut off. But would you know what that meant? Again, I'll give you all my cash if you know. So basically, you know, when you kill a snake or a fish or something, right after it's dead, it still kind of flops around. It's the same thing. So way, way long ago, when people would still go out in their backyard to get the chicken for dinner, they would say, you know, go out and wring its neck. Well, that meant pop its head off, and then the chicken was so still a little alive, it would run around like crazy. So basically, running around like a chicken with your head cut off means being overwhelmed. But you see, I had to take 5 minutes to explain it, and you're still like, huh? So be careful in the expressions that you choose, because if you're in a cross-cultural audience, your audience may not understand what you're saying and lose the meaning altogether. Voice as strength. So again, I can talk like this, and sound like this, and very powerful. No, probably not. It probably doesn't look very powerful if I got up here and just kind of was lazy. So I want everyone to stand up. Stand up. Now, you do know what this is. Beautiful mountain. It's very strong. It's very powerful. So I want you to just like slouch down. Get uncomfortable. There you go. Now I want you to stand up straight. Feet hip width apart. Keep your hips over your feet. Like a chain, I want you to stretch your spine up. So you might feel like you're getting taller if you've been slouching a lot. And then feel like there's a string coming from the top of your head, so that your head is just kind of floating on top of your spine. Now roll your shoulders back. Engage your abdomen. This is your mountain. This is your strength. Now, you can relax a little bit. But still, do you feel powerful like this or like this? Which one is your power? So starting with this position, I want you to think about your breath. With one arm, place it over your chest, the other hand like this, and I want you to feel how you breathe. So I want you to breathe in. Now exhale. Now if this arm is doing a lot of moving, then you're not breathing right. This hand is the one that should be moving. It's on your diaphragm. So breathe from down here. It should go out. Right? If maybe there's a little bit of movement here because it does move a little bit. But this is where your breath needs to come from. Diaphragm. So I'm not going to take you through the whole exercise, but I want you to think of, down here in the diaphragm, there's a ping pong ball. All right, and that ping pong ball needs to come up and out and hit the back of the room. All right? So you can hit the screen. So, hand on your diaphragm. Inhale. And hey! Repeat.
Hey!
Down here on the exhale. Hey! Oh, guys, come on. You can do better than that. Inhale.
Let's blow it away.
Inhale. Exhale. Hey! Your ping pong balls didn't even get up here, y'all. They have to hit the back. Now, try he. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. He. Ping pong balls are light. It doesn't take that much air, but you have to get it out there. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale. He. There we go. Okay. So you can sit down. You can sit down. So as you can see, you're standing from a position of here. Your ping pong ball will not go very far, and people can't hear you in the back. It also, it doesn't, does this project power or passion? No. You don't have to stand like a mountain the whole time, but remember that and feel it. Feel your mountain, and get your ping pong ball to the back of the room. And then passion. I didn't know I was going to give that whole presentation, but here it is. So what are you passionate about? What are your skills? And how can you get those two things together? So for me, I've always been able to speak. It's taken a lot of practice to just be able to do it on command. But I've practiced and practiced and practiced. For the last year, I've spoken in front of about 100 women from all over the globe. The youngest is 24, the oldest is 80. Some are English as their second and third language. And so I've really had to be careful in the words I choose, being able to project, enunciate, so that everyone can understand what I'm saying, like the words, but also understand the meaning. So practice. Practice in front of a mirror, practice with your friends. It takes a lot of practice to just be able to get up and do it. So remember your position of power. And what is that? A
Mountain.
Yes. And you need to get your ping pong ball where? To the back of the room. And you need practice. Seriously. Americans have no problem with this. Japanese people, after I lived in Japan, I went home and my theater teacher said, I can't hear you. I'm projecting. I'm projecting. No, you're not. You've lived in a society where everyone is quiet because they care about not disturbing the person next to them, so you have to project. Korea is a little louder than Japan, but still individually project. Germans, they don't need any help projecting. So practice. And you can use different words, but hey, he, ha, ho, who. Use different, ba, be, bo. Get it out there. Get your ping pong ball out there. But really, your students, and part of me is so jealous because you get to explore and study and decide what you want to do. Practice. Figure out your passion. And as you're practicing your skills and learning and discovering your passion, put those together and you will affect change in those around you, but also in society. Let me see. So, look at that. Choose your words carefully, good posture and project, and use your passion. So let me hear one more hey. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Hey! Oh, thank you so much. So that is the end.